Friends, so I am Zainab Ali. So I teach science from grade 6 to 9. So today I am here to teach you all the chapter 17, which is called as lightning, right? We are going to study the chapter 17, which is known as lightning. Sorry, it is called as lightning. So everyone here, you know what is a lightning, right? You know what is a lightning because it is a natural disaster. It's a natural thing that is occurring every day, right? So when we talk about the lightning, we should make have some precautions in order to protect us from the lightning. So why do we need to protect us from the lightning? Because lightning can cause death to people. Lightning can cause death to people as well as animals. It can make the life lost, right? That means people can die, animal can die because of lightning. So it was reported that in America, in 1 year, 100 deaths will be there because of lightning. In America, there are 100 deaths because of lightning. So not only the deaths, so there will be injuries occurring due to lightning. And also there is damage to properties because of lightning. That means the agricultural lands get damaged and buildings get damaged. So all these things can occur because of the lightning, right? All these things can occur because of the lightning. Okay, so when you consider lightning, lightning occurs mostly in two periods. Mostly in these months only lightning occurs. So it is from March to April. March to April lightning can occur, as well as lightning can occur from October to November. So this is the days, this is the months that lightning mostly occur. It can occur from March to April, or it can occur from October to November. So the people, they name these two periods as inter-monsoon periods. Inter-monsoons. Okay, so now listen carefully. So what are we studying today? We are studying about lightning, right? We are studying about lightning. So lightning, it can cause damages to properties as well as it can cause deaths, right? It can cause deaths as well as injuries to human and other living organisms, right? So when you consider the lightning, the most two common months for lightning, these are the most seasons for lightning. The first is from March to April. The second is going to be from October to November, right? So these two periods, they call it as inter-monsoons. So these two periods, what is it called as? What is these two periods called as? You can reply through the chat. Please send the messages to Zainab Ali. Don't send to Sateha College. Please send the messages to Zainab Ali, which is the co-host. Yes, very good students. You call these two periods. You call these the meteorologists. That means the people who say about the weather. Meteorologist. So these people are the people who say about the weather, right? So they call these 2 months as inter-monsoons. These 2 months, that means 4 months: March, April, October, November. So this period you call it as inter-monsoons. Now I am going to teach you how can a cloud occur. How is a cloud occurring in our sky? In the sky, how is a cloud occurring? So I think you may have studied this in grade 6. Did you all study about the water cycle in grade 6? Did you all study about the water cycle in grade 6? Can you all remember? Yes, most of you all have studied about the water cycle in grade 6, right? So I will teach you how is a cloud occurring in the sky. How is a cloud going to occur? So what is happening is during these inter-monsoon periods, what happens is the temperature. Now this is the earth, right? This is going to be the earth. I'll draw the earth like this. So the atmosphere, which is closer to the earth, the atmosphere which is closer to the earth gets heated and the temperature rises. What happens during these intermonsoon periods? There will be an atmosphere closer to the earth. This atmosphere which is there close to the earth, the temperature is going to increase. This area, this place where it is the atmosphere which is closer to the earth, the temperature in those areas is going to increase. So when the temperature increases, the blowing of wind will decrease. The blowing of wind decreases. Okay, so what's happening? During these intermonsoon periods, that near the earth there is atmosphere. In this atmosphere, the temperature is going to increase and also the blowing of wind is going to decrease. Because of this, the amount of water vapor, what is water vapor? The amount of water vapor in the atmosphere is going to increase. What is water vapor? Okay. Uh, okay. So listen, there are some students who joined just now, so they don't have an idea. I'll tell you. Okay, what I'm teaching. So what I'm teaching is, there are some months where the lightning occurs most. So those months you call it as intermonsoon. So those months are going to be what? What are those months? Can you all send me through the chat? What are those months? What did I say? What are those months? It's going to be March and April, March and April, and October and November, October to November. So these months, the lightning occurs most, right? So you call those months as intermonsoon, right? So during this intermonsoon, when there is intermonsoon, during this period, near the earth there is atmosphere. During this period, in the atmosphere, the temperature will increase. So when the temperature increases, the blowing of wind will decrease. Because of this, the amount of water vapor in the atmosphere is going to increase. Why is it? Now you know there are water bodies, right? There are water bodies. So what happens during a very hot day when the temperature is high? The water in these water bodies will convert into water vapor and they will reach the sky. The water will convert to water vapor and they will reach the sky. So these water vapor in the sky, they will condense. Condense means what? The water vapor will become water droplets. These water vapor will start to become water droplets. So these water droplets and all the other things, like in the sky you have crystals of snows and all these things, they will join together and form the cloud. So that's how a cloud is formed. So I'll explain y'all once more. Listen carefully. Okay? I'll explain y'all once more. So give your 100% attention here. Don't be distracted. So that if you are distracted, you won't be able to understand clearly. Okay? So make sure that you are seated on a chair. Keep your book on the table and listen carefully. Right? So what are the intermonsoon period? The intermonsoon periods are March to April, October to November. So when there is intermonsoon period, near the earth, there is atmosphere. This is you call it as the atmosphere. The air that's close to the earth. This part you call it as the atmosphere, right? So when there is intermonsoon period, the temperature which is closer, the temperature of the atmosphere which is closer to the earth will increase. Then what happens? The blowing of the wind will start to decrease. The blowing of the wind will start to decrease. Because of the temperature increasing in this region, in this period, because of the temperature increasing, the water vapor in the atmosphere will start to increase. So how does the water vapor in the atmosphere starts to increase? Now, in our earth, we have water bodies, we have trees, right? So in the tree, transpiration will occur. In the tree, transpiration will occur. Transpiration means loss of water, right? From the plant bodies. So transpiration will occur, and what happens is the water will be converted into water vapor because of the temperature, because of the high temperature. The water will be converted into water vapor. This water vapor will reach the sky because because of the high temperature, water is being converted to water vapor. So because the water vapor is increasing in the atmosphere, what happens is this water vapor will reach the sky and they will condense and form water droplets, and they will combine and form clouds. So that's how a cloud is occurring. That's how a cloud is forming. Okay, so water vapor is increasing. Because of the water vapor increases, the water will vaporize up and also get cool in the atmosphere. Cooling, condensation means water vapor becoming water droplets, right? That is you call as cooling or condensation. After condensation, it will form the clouds, right? So that's how a cloud is formed. Is it clear how a cloud is formed? Is it clear how a cloud is formed? Anyone who have doubt how a cloud is formed? Does anyone have any doubt how a cloud is formed? You can ask me. Okay, very clear, crystal clear. Okay, so it's clear, right, how a cloud is formed. So I'm going to ask someone. Let's ask someone. Okay, let's see if they can answer. Okay, let's ask Sharaf. Sharaf, tell me. Sharaf, can you tell me how a cloud is formed? Just like explain it from your own words. Sharaf, can you? Okay, Ashfa. Ashfa, explain me.
Yes, miss. So in these intermonsoon periods, this temperature in the temperature in this atmosphere will increase, and so this blowing of wind, it will become low, it will decrease. So this increase the amount of water vapor in the atmosphere, and so this water vapor, they will become cool, and finally they will form the clouds.
Very good, Ashfa. That was a very good explanation. Rahma Fazlur Rahman, can you explain?
Yes, teacher. During this intermonsoonal period, then in the nearest layer of atmosphere near the Earth, the temperature might increase, and due to this, the blowing wind will increase, which will cause an increase in the amount of water vapor in the atmosphere.
Rahman. Mhm.
Water vapor would be subjected.
Okay, very good. We couldn't hear you half, but it's okay. You did a really good job. So that's how a cloud is formed, right? If anyone asks you how a cloud is formed, you should be able to explain it to them. A small young student, grade 6 student, is coming and asking you, sister or brother, can you explain me how a cloud is formed? Then you should be able to explain it to them, right? So, like I explain it to you, you should be able to explain it to them. So, there is earth, near the earth, there is the atmosphere which is closer to earth. The temperature of the atmosphere which is closer to the earth will increase. Because the temperature is increasing, the blowing of the wind will decrease. So, when the blowing of the wind and the temperature increases, what happens is the water will be converted into water vapor, and the amount of the water vapor in the atmosphere will start to increase. So, this water vapor will reach the sky and they will cool. Cool means condensing. Condensing means water vapor converting into water droplets. So, these water droplets and other substances, they will get together and they will form the cloud. right? So let's tell, if these clouds become heavy and heavy with water droplets, then what will it result? What will it result? Rain. Very good, Razia. Well done. Yes, Safia, well done. Yes, it is going to close. Yes, very good. So when the temperature is increasing, do we have wind? A student is asking why the blowing of wind decreases. When it is a hot season, when it is a very dry season, do we have enough wind? Do we have wind? No, there won't be wind, right? During a very hot season, there is no wind. So that's why the blowing of wind is decreasing and the water vapor will increase. And when the water vapor increases, the water vapor will reach the sky and they will condense and form the clouds, right? And form the clouds. So when the clouds become heavy and heavy and heavy with water droplets, it will start to rain, right? This you call it as a water cycle. This you call it as a water cycle. This you might have learned in grade 6. So they just have introduced in grade 6 chapter 9 or chapter 10. They are talking about the water cycle. So you should know what is a water cycle. Okay. Okay. Now let's move on to the next part. So we know what are intermonsoon periods. What is clouds, right? So when we consider lightning, the lightning occurs in a special type of cloud. You call that cloud as cumulonimbus cloud. Cumulonimbus. You studied this in grade 6. I hope you can remember. Cumulonimbus clouds. Can you all remember that we studied in grade 7? In grade 7, under the atmosphere chapter, we studied about cumulonimbus clouds. So cumulonimbus clouds, I'll show you the picture of those clouds if you all want to see it, right? So this is cumulonimbus clouds. So in the cumulonimbus clouds only, mostly lightning occurs. So what is the cloud that lightning occurs? What is it, students? What do you call that as? Cumulonimbus clouds. So the lightning occurs in a special type of cloud. You call it as cumulonimbus clouds. Okay? The cloud's name is going to be cumulonimbus clouds. So in these cumulonimbus clouds, when I take one cloud of it, let's say that this is a cumulonimbus clouds. The cloud, it contains, in the cloud, there is snow as well as there are tiny droplets of water particles. So in these clouds, you have snow as well as tiny droplets of water particles. So when you consider the cumulonimbus clouds, the positive charge is accumulated. Before this, I'll teach a small other part and then come to this part, okay? So that you will understand. So when you consider these cumulonimbus clouds, this is the type of cloud that contributes mostly for lightning. And when we measure the distance from the land to these cumulonimbus clouds, it is going to be 15,000 meters. So what is the distance between the land and these cumulonimbus clouds? Cumulonimbus cloud is a special type of cloud where lightning occurs, right? Cumulonimbus cloud is a special type of cloud where lightning occurs. So the distance between the land and these cumulonimbus clouds, it is going to be 15,000 meters, right? How many meters? 15,000 meters. So the next thing is how lightning occurs. I'm going to teach you how does the lightning occurs. So is it clear until now? Is it clear until now? Is everything clear until now? Yes. So let us do some questions before I explain how a lightning occurs. So everyone take your tune and do the question 1, 2, and 3. Soon do. Do the question number 1, question number 2, and question number 3, and question number 4. Do until first 4 questions. I'll give you all 2 minutes to do, right? So now it's 7:23. We will start discussing at 7:25. So I'll give you all 2 minutes, soon do. From question number 1 to question number 4. It's easy. I'm sorry, I was talking muted. Okay, no worries. Okay. Yes, well done, Mariam. Well done, Ahmad Amhar. Very good. Mohammed, well done. So can you all tell me the answer for the second one? What is the name given to these two periods by meteorologists? So the first one is going to be March to April and October to November. The second one is going to be intermonsoon period. Very good. And can anyone explain how clouds are formed? Can you all raise your hands if you all can explain how clouds are formed? Yes, Razia, can you explain me how clouds are formed?
During the intermonsoon period, the temperature increases. As a result, the blowing of the wind decreases. Therefore, the evaporation is high. The evaporated water droplets condense and form the clouds.
Very good, Razia. That was a very good explanation. Well done. Safia Sabit, can you explain how a cloud is formed?
Yes, miss. During intermonsoon period, the atmosphere which is close to the earth, the temperature in that increases and the blowing of wind get decreases. And also the water vapor increases. Therefore, the water vapor get condensed and the clouds are formed.
Very good, Safia. You did a really good job. Okay, so third one also done. So third one you can write from your own words. As 3 students already answered how clouds are formed, you can write it like they said, right? They did a really good job. So what cloud contributes mostly to lightning? What is the fourth answer? Very good, cumulonimbus clouds. Well done. So I want everyone to answer until the fourth question. Now we can move to the next part. So next part is what are the things that is there in the cumulonimbus clouds? So when you consider the cumulonimbus clouds, in the cumulonimbus clouds we have snow particles as well as there are snow crystals. There is snow crystals in the cumulonimbus clouds as well as there are water droplets. Okay, there are snow crystals as well as water droplets. Can you remember that you have studied in grade 7 about electrostatic charges? Can you all remember what are electrostatic charges? Okay, let's ask someone who can remember. Can anyone answer that question? Can you all raise your hand so that I'll ask you what are electrostatic charges? Can anyone tell me the answer? Yes, Safia, what is electrostatic charges? Mariam Wazir? Mariam, what is electrostatic charges? So, Safia, can you tell?
Yes, miss. Miss, I'm not confirmed, but I'll say that.
It's okay, you can say.
The charges which are generated when you rub two objects.
Very good. Yes, well done. Razia, what is your definition? Can I hear your definition of electrostatic charges?
When two opposite charges get together, if they meet together.
Okay. So let's ask Yusuf Mukhtar. You know what is electrostatic charges?
When two positive when two substances get rubbed, electric form.
Okay. It's okay. I like the students who try to answer, right? I love the students who try to answer. Mariam Wazir. Okay. So if you all can't answer, don't raise your hands, okay? But if you all can answer, I will be happy that you can answer, right? So Rahma,
When two positive and negative rub against each other.
okay. So I'll tell you. Now, electrostatic charges are the charges when you take two objects and when you rub each other. So the positive charge will be accumulated in one object and the negative charges will be accumulated in another object, right? So there are two types of electrostatic charges. So you call it as the positive charges and the negative charges. Most of you all gave me a very good idea. You had a little idea about it. That is very good. Okay. So in the cumulonimbus clouds, you have these snow crystals as well as you have the water droplets. So what happens is in these clouds, what happens is the clouds, I told you, in the clouds you have snow crystals as well as we have water droplets, right? So the wind will blow from bottom to top in these clouds. the wind will blow from bottom to top like this. So when the wind blows from bottom to top like this, the water droplets inside the cumulonimbus clouds, we have water droplets and snow crystals. So these two rub against each other. The water droplets and the snow crystals, they will start to rub against each other. So when they start to rub against each other, a positive charge and a negative charge will be formed, right? So that you call it as electrostatic charges. So there are two types of electrostatic charges, positive charges and negative charges. So let me explain you what is happening here. So in cumulonimbus clouds, we have two types of things inside it. You have snow crystals as well as we have water droplets, right? So what is happening is the wind will start to blow from bottom to top. The wind will start to blow from bottom to top. So when the wind starts to blow from bottom to top, the snow crystals and water droplets, they will start to rub against each other. When they start to rub against each other, positive charges and negative charges will be formed. So these positive charges will be accumulated on the top of the cumulonimbus clouds, and the negative charges will be accumulated in the bottom part of the cloud. So what are the two types of electrostatic charges in the cumulonimbus clouds? You call it as the positive electrostatic charge and negative electrostatic charge. Okay. So, so what is happening in the cloud? We have very small tiny snow crystals as well as we have water droplets. The wind will start to blow from bottom to top. So when the wind starts to blow from bottom to top, the snow crystals and the water droplets, they will start to rub against each other, and positive and negative charges will be formed. The positive charges will be accumulated on top and negative charges will be accumulated in the bottom, right? So these positive and negative charges are collected at the positive is collected at top and negative is collected at the below part of the cumulonimbus cloud, right? So is it clear until now? Is it clear? I didn't still explain how lightning is occurring. Is it clear how these positive and electric charges are formed? Okay. So then what happens is inside the clouds also there are air. Inside the clouds there is air also, right? So air is going to be an insulator. So what is the meaning of insulator? Air is an insulator. What is an insulator? What do you know about insulators? Students are saying chargers, gases. What are insulators? Safia, no. No, wrong. Conductors only conducts electricity and heat. What are insulators? Very good, Mariam Farhan. Well done. Mariam Farhan, correct. Yes, Ifra Isham, correct. Rahma, correct. Raza, correct. Well done. So, insulators, they do not conduct electricity or they do not conduct heat. So, you call them as insulators. Insulators are the ones which do not conduct electricity or that do not conduct heat. So some students didn't understand how these positive and negative charges are formed. So I'll just explain you all once more. So I won't repeat it again. So listen carefully, right? So what is happening? Mostly we studied in cumulonimbus clouds only, the lightning can occur. So in these clouds, you have two types of things that is present inside these clouds. There are snow crystals as well as there are water droplets. So what is happening is the wind will start to blow from bottom to top. So when the wind starts to blow from the bottom to top of the cloud, inside the snow crystals and the water droplets will start to rub against each other. So if you take this pen and if you rub this cloth like this for several times, and then if you take small pieces of paper, let's take small pieces of paper, This we studied in grade 7. Okay. So I'll just take very small, tiny pieces of paper and keep it here. And then what I'm going to do is I'll just try. Okay, you're going to rub this plastic in a cloth. So let's rub it like this. And then when you bring it closer like this, the paper is not. Okay. Let's try once more. It should be a silk cloth. If you have a silk cloth, it's good. You can try it. I think you all have tried that in grade 7. Did you all do this in grade 7? Yeah. So you should rub it for a. I don't have a silk cloth near me. If you have a silk cloth near you, you can rub it really well. And then when you keep it, you may see that the papers will get attached to this pen. That is because when you rub, one object will gain the positive charge than other object. Now, when you rub these two objects, for an example, you know positive and negative, they attract each other, right? So when you rub like this will get at the negative and the positive charges will be arranged in this pen, right? So when we bring it closer, the papers will get attracted to this. So that you may have studied in grade 7. So similar idea, students, similar idea. So when you take the cloud, inside the cloud, there are snow crystals and water droplets. The snow crystals and water droplets, they will start to rub against each other. When they start to rub against each other, the positive and the negative charges will be formed. The positive charges will accumulate on top of the cloud and the negative charges will get accumulated on the bottom of the cloud. And remember, there are air particles also inside this cumulonimbus clouds. So air is an insulator. Insulator means it always doesn't conduct electricity and heat, right? So therefore, what happens is electric charges will not flow easily because there is air between them. The electric charges, the positive and the negative electric charges will not flow easily. That, like this negative charge will not move there or the positive charge will not move here because there is air. Air is an insulator. Remember that. Air is going to be an insulator. So what happens here is because air is present, the positive and the negative charges, they won't move. They will be in the same place, right? So after some times, after the continuous wind blow and the snow particles, the snow crystals and the water droplets are rubbing each other, there will be large amount of electrocharges that is accumulated in the above and below regions of the cloud. Because of the continuous rubbing of the snow and water droplets, what happens is there will be large amount of positive and negative charges accumulated on top and below of the clouds. So when this happens, when very large amount of charges are developed like this, in a moment like this, there will be a particular instance where this charge, where there is electricity produced, there will be a moment where there will be a rise of electricity that can flow even through the air. There will be a moment where the electricity can move even through the air because of the accumulation of large amount of electric charges. So when this electricity starts to flow through the air, what happens is there will be a jump of electric charges. It will be a very little time and it will jump like you. That's how you see a lightning, right? So I'll explain you all once more. Listen carefully how a lightning occurs. So this is the last time I'm going to explain. So listen carefully, students. So what is happening? You have a cumulonimbus cloud. So the positive and the negative charges will be accumulated like this. Why is it accumulating like this? Because the wind is blowing from bottom to top and the snow particles, the snow crystals and the water droplets are rubbing each other and electrostatic charges will be formed. So the positive charge will be accumulated on top of the cloud and negative charges will be accumulated on the bottom of the cloud. So when there is a large amount of charges accumulated like this, there will be a moment where the electricity can discharge even in the air. The electricity will be discharged to the air, right? There will be a moment where there will be a rise of electricity that can flow even through the air. So that's how you see a lightning, right? So if they ask you what is a lightning, you should say the jump of electric charges or an electric discharge that occurs in an cumulonimbus cloud. That phenomena you call it as a lightning. That phenomena you call it as a lightning. Okay, now listen. So is it clear? Is it clear? Okay, listen carefully once more. Last time. Okay, listen. So if they ask you what is lightning, how does a lightning occur? You can explain from your own words, student. If you explain from your own words, they will give you marks. Don't worry. They don't expect exactly what is there in your textbook. If you give them the same idea about that definition, they will give you marks. So don't memorize the definition. Just think about it as a story. So what is happening here? You should know that lightning occurs in a cumulonimbus cloud. Cumulonimbus clouds. So lightning occurs here. So in these cumulonimbus clouds, we have, let's say this is a snow crystal, and we have water droplets. So the wind will start to blow from bottom part of the cloud to the top part of the cloud before the accumulation of the sum. After that, only the positive charge and negative charge are formed. So the wind will start to blow like this. So when the wind starts to blow like this and this will start to rub each other. So when they start to rub each other, positive charges and negative charges will be formed. Positive charges and negative charges will be formed. So when this is continuously occurring, there will be a large accumulation of positive and negative charges in these cumulonimbus clouds. So when this happens, you know that there is air inside the clouds. Air is an insulator. It does not conduct electricity or it does not conduct heat, right? It is an insulator. But because of the accumulation of this much of charges in the clouds, what happens is, there will be a moment where it can discharge the electricity even in the air. There will be a moment where it can discharge the electricity even in the air. So the jump of electricity, the discharge of the electricity, okay? So you can say a jump of electric charges that occurs from a cloud, that you call it as lightning, right? The jump of electric charges or electricity that discharges from a cloud, that phenomena you call it as lightning. That phenomena you call it as lightning. So there are 3 types of lightning depending on the sides that the jump occurs, right? Depending on the sides between which the charges jump. So charges, it can jump from cloud to cloud, as well as it can jump from cloud to air, as well as the charges can jump from cloud to ground. So based on that, we can divide the lightning into 3 types. Okay, we can divide that. Based on that, we can divide the lightning into 3 types. So is it clear until now? Is it clear until now? So let's write what is lightning first. So let's answer the question. Okay. So explain how clouds are formed. That is done. What clouds? That is also done. It is necessary to form electrostatic charges in the clouds for lightning to occur. How these electrostatic charges are formed in the clouds? So how are they formed? Anyone who can answer that, can you raise your hand? Anyone? Yusuf, yes. I saw Yusuf raising it first. So Yusuf, can you explain?
Because in the in the clouds there are some ice crystals and water droplets, so they are getting
Is it
rubbed.
ice crystals or snow crystals?
Snow crystals and water droplets, they are rubbing. when they
Yes.
rub, the positive charges and negative charges are happening. And when they,
Original.
yeah, and when they both getting attracted, phenomena is happening.
Yeah. So not they
Wedding.
both don't get attracted here. They don't both get attracted. Sometimes they both can get attracted, but what happens is like let's tell. So you have this cloud, right? So he was also correct. So let's say that this is positive charge and negative charge. They won't move, right? They won't move. They are in a static same place because there is air. So air doesn't conduct electricity or anything. So at an instance, at one instance, there is a chance of jumping of this electricity. So when the jump of the electricity or electric discharges occur only, so lightning can occur. Sometimes these two charges can attract each other and lightning can occur within the clouds. I'll explain you that. Or sometimes the lightning can jump from cloud to cloud. Or sometimes the electricity can jump from the cloud to the land. Or sometimes it can jump from the cloud to the air. So you can just say the jump of electric charges. The jump of electric charges, or you can say the electric that discharge occurs from the clouds, you call it as that phenomena, you call it as lightning, right? That phenomena you call it as lightning. But you don't have to write everything for the fifth question, because in the fifth question they're asking you, it is necessary to form electrostatic charges in the clouds for lightning. How these electrostatic charges are formed? They're asking you only how are the electrostatic charges formed. So you don't have to explain how lightning occurs. You can just explain how electrostatic charges are formed. So Humaina, what is your answer here? Humaina? Amra Nisar, do you have an answer for that? Fifth one.
Yes, teacher. Now in these clouds there are various crystals and water droplets. So because of the wind that blow from bottom to top, this between these crystals and water droplets, they are rubbing each other, and they are forming positive charges and negative charges.
Very good, Ambra. So that's how the electrostatic charges are formed, right? When they rub each other, there will be a positive and positive electrostatic charge and negative electrostatic charge formed, right? Very good. Minha, Munir. Minha, can you explain?
Yes, madam. When the electrolytic charges are connected to when snow crystals and tiny water droplets are connected, they rub each other and they form electrolytic charges.
Okay, you got the idea, right? Very good. It's okay. You told it correctly, no problem. Alif, can you explain? Alif?
Teacher, in the cloud, there is snow crystal and water droplets.
Very good.
When the wind is blow below the cloud,
From
bottom to the upward the cloud, the snow crystal and water droplets rubbing each other. When rub snow crystals and water droplets rubbing each other, there is form positive charge and negative charge.
Very good. Well done, Alif. So those are called as electrostatic charges. Well done. Ahmad Amhar, the last person. Then let's move on to the next question.
Okay, teacher. Now inside this cumulonimbus cloud, there are small snow crystals and water droplets. Because the wind blows fastly from top to bottom.
From
top to bottom.
No, darling.
Yes. Because of this wind blows bottom to top, water droplets will be rub each other. Then there will be, because of this rubbing, electrostatic charges will be formed.
Very good. Well done, Amhar.
Thank you, teacher.
Sorry, Ahmad Amhar. You're welcome. Okay, so now we know how an electrostatic charge is formed, right? So you can write that. So if the students who can't write it, you can look at me and write it. I'm going to write it in the whiteboard. So that I think you can do until question number 8. So can you all do until question number 8? I will at the same time I will be writing the answers in the board. So make sure you're not copying the board. Write it by yourself. Okay. So do until question number 8. So if you all have done, put done in the chat box so that I'll know that you have finished. Okay. Okay, so this is how an electrostatic charge is formed. Then the sixth one, how many types of electrostatic charges are formed and what are they? Very easy. So what is the answer? Let's ask Mahdia. Mahdia, what is the answer?
2 types, positive and negative charges.
Very good, Mahdia. 2 types. They are going to be positive and negative charges. Positive and negative charges. Well done. Then the 7th question. These charges are found in which regions of the cloud? Let's ask Zainab. Zainab, tell me, where are these charges formed?
Positive charges in the upper region of the cumulonimbus cloud and negative charges are in the lower region.
Very good. So the positive charges are distributed in the upper region of the cumulonimbus clouds and the negative charges are distributed in the below region, the below part of the cumulonimbus clouds. So that is the answer for the 7th one. Then the 8th one, how does lightning occur? Muad, how does lightning occur? Do you have an answer? Anyone who can answer how does
A jump
Yeah.
of electrical charges or an electric discharge occurs. This phenomenon is known as lightning.
Very good. So because we explained this already, we don't have to explain it again. So what is lightning? There will be a jump of electric charges. There will be a jump of electric charges, or you can say electric discharge occurs. That phenomena, you call it as lightning. Right? So we have explained, we have done until question number 8. Now let's move on to the next part. So before moving on to the next part, students, I want to introduce about my class. So I do science from grade 6 to grade 9. And if you are, now this is a free session, right? So if you are willing to continue my classes further with me, now we are in the we didn't complete the chapter 16, right? I didn't complete the chapter 16. So there is chapter 16 to complete. And now we are in the chapter 17 now. So then we should complete 18 and 19. So there are 3 more chapters to finish. So if you want to come and join with us for the rest of the 2 months that is remaining, so this is going to be my number. So I'll just write it over here. So you can contact me if you all want. Okay, 076 993 4070. So this is going to be my number, students. So if you like my teaching and if you want to continue with me, you can contact me. This is going to be my number, and I will help you to register in our website. So we have a website called Sateha College, and we have a YouTube channel as well. So if you want to watch my previous one of my previous free session, which is Reflection of Light, if you want to watch that is there in our website, our YouTube channel, which is known as Sateha College, right? If you want, you can go and watch that as well. Okay. Yeah. So that's it about my class. So now we will move on to the next part. Okay. Shall I raise the board? Shall I raise this part? Are you all done writing? Okay, y'all are done writing. So now we are going to move to our next part. So the next part is about the types of lightning. Now I told you based on the jumps, there are 3 types of lightning. Based on the jumps, we can classify the lightning into 3 types. Okay, based on the jumps, we can classify the lightning into how many types? We can classify, a student is asking about the fee. The fees will be 1,000 per month, right? Grade 8 and 9, 1,000 per month. Grade 6 and 7, 800 per month. Okay, so the types of lightning. So when you consider the types of lightning, there will be 3 types of lightning based on the jumps. So first type of lightning, you call it as cloud to cloud lightning. First type of lightning, you call it as cloud to cloud lightning. The second type of lightning, you call it as cloud to air lightning. Cloud to air lightning. The third type of lightning, you call it as cloud to ground lightning. Cloud to ground lightning. So I will be explaining one by one. So the first type of lightning is going to be cloud to cloud lightning. The second type of lightning is going to be cloud to air lightning. The third type of lightning is going to be cloud to ground lightning. The classes are on every Saturdays, 7 p.m. to 9:15 p.m. Every Saturdays, 7 p.m. to 9:15 p.m. So this is our class time every Saturdays. Okay, so now listen, students. So there are 3 types of lightning: cloud to cloud lightning, cloud to air lightning, cloud to ground lightning. So first let's study about the first one, cloud to cloud lightning, right? So when you say cloud to cloud lightning, from the word itself, you know that it is going to occur between 2 clouds, or you have a cloud and it is going to occur within the cloud. So let's say that there is a cloud, and let's say that there is positive charges in the upper region of the cloud and negative charges in the below region of the cloud. So the jump of charges can occur within the same cloud. The jump of charges can occur like this, right? So when they start to attract, when they are getting accumulated, when there is a large amount of charges inside these clouds, there will be a jump of electricity, jump of charges from here to here. And when they attract each other, there will be a spark, electricity produced, right? So it can be within the cloud. It can be within the cloud, as well as it can be between 2 clouds. It can be between 2 clouds like this. This positive charge with the jump can occur from here to here, from one cloud to another cloud. So a jump of charges either between 2 regions of, now these are the 2 regions, right? The jump can occur between 2 regions of the same cloud, or it can occur between two clouds with different charges. So this jump can occur between the same cloud, between the charges of the same cloud, as well as the jump can occur within the two different clouds, charges of two different clouds. That you call it as cloud to cloud lightning. That you call it as cloud to cloud lightning. So is it clear what is cloud to cloud lightning? Yeah. Okay. So jump means there will be now electricity will be like when these charges, there will be a jump of the charges. This the negative charge will jump to this, attract this positive charge. So when there is a jump like that, you can see that the lightning bolts, like you have seen like lightnings, right? This, right, in the sky, you have seen that, right? So that is because of the jump between two clouds. So it can be between clouds and air as well. It can be between clouds and air as well. So how can you find the difference? Anyone who knows, how can you find the difference between the clouds and clouds and clouds and air? Anyone who knows that, how can you find the difference? Y'all can send me if you all know how can you find the difference. So listen, students. So I'll show you the difference. I'll show you the difference. Wait a minute. Okay. I'll show you a picture. You're going to tell me whether it's cloud to cloud or... Okay, what is this? What is this type of lightning? Can you all tell me? No, yes, very good. Cloud to ground. You can see that the lightning is coming from cloud to ground. So this is cloud to ground lightning. So when I show you this one, wait. Give me 1 minute. This one, it's not clear. So I'll tell you the difference. Okay, let's say I'll show you the difference. Look at the board. So can you all see the board? You all can see the board, right? Okay. Listen, students. Now, if you have two clouds, the lightning can occur from cloud to cloud, right? So let's say that this is positive and this is negative. Then again here positive and here it's going to be negative, right? So when it occurs from cloud to cloud, you can say that it is going to be the lightning will be like this from here to here. And then when it is from cloud to air, I didn't explain what is cloud to air, right? Can I know whether you all can hear me and see my board clearly? Okay, thank you. Okay, now listen, students. Now this is cloud to cloud lightning, right? So cloud to air lightning means, now this is the cloud. Positive charge is accumulated on top, negative charge is accumulated on bottom. So there will be a discharge of these charges as a small packet. The charges will be discharged from the cloud as small packets to the air. So there will be small charge packets like this, which is discharged into the air. So let's say that there are small packet of charges that is discharged into the air. So when the lightning occurs, you will be able to see a line like this, a line like this, because these are positive. So it will be like spreading of light. So when it is spreading of light in the sky, spreading of lightning in the sky, like this, from the one place to a different place like this, you call this as cloud to air lightning. So when it is cloud to cloud lightning, there will be a jump from the positive charge of one cloud to the negative charge of one cloud to the positive charge of the other cloud, or it can occur between the positive and the negative charge of the same cloud. So this you call it as cloud to cloud lightning. So cloud to cloud lightning, there will be a jump of charges either between two regions of the same charge cloud, or between two clouds with different charges, or between two clouds of different charges. That you call it as cloud to cloud lightning. This you call it as cloud to cloud lightning. So the second one is cloud to air lightning. In cloud to air lightning, there will be the charges will be discharged from the cloud into the atmosphere. Into the atmosphere, small packet of charges will be discharged. So this, what will happen is, in the surrounding air, these packet of charges will be there, mostly positive charges, they say. Okay. So what happens is, when the lightning occurs, the jump will be taking place from the cloud to the air, from the cloud to the air, from the cloud to the air. So this you call it as cloud to air lightning. This you call it as cloud to air lightning. This you call it as cloud to cloud lightning. So the third one is cloud to ground lightning. Is it clear what is cloud to cloud and cloud to air? Was it clear? Was it clear how? Okay. Okay, great. So it's clear, right? Now we will move on to the last one. We are going to move on to the last one, which is cloud to ground lightning. This is going to be the dangerous one for us, because of the cloud to ground lightning only, mostly the lives are lost, right? So this is cloud to ground lightning. Cloud to ground lightning. So what is cloud to ground lightning is, there will be a cloud where positive charges are accumulated on top and negative charges are accumulated on bottom, right? So because of these charges are accumulated like this will induce positive charges to occur on the land. Okay, what is happening here? Because there is positive charges in the upper part of the clouds and there is negative charges on the below part of the clouds, this will induce a positive charges in the ground, because this is negative, right? This part is negative. The below part of the cloud is negative. This negative of this cloud, it will induce positive charges on this land. So when the positive charges are formed on the land, what will occur? The jump will occur from the cloud to the land. Okay, so when a jump occurs from the cloud to the land, when the current is, when the electricity jump, it occurs from cloud to the land, then you call it as cloud to ground lightning. Inducing. Induce means, now in the what do you call? In the chapter, induce means making, inducing. Yeah, causing. Induce means causing, right? Okay, now listen. What is happening? Because of the clouds, the positive charges are accumulated on top. The negative charges are accumulated on the bottom, right, in the clouds. So because of this, the positive charges will be induced. It will be induced means it will be formed. This cloud will cause the land to have positive charges. The positive charges will be induced on the land. So when the positive charges are induced on the land, always there is attraction between the negative and positive. Always there is attraction between negative and positive. So because there is an attraction between negative and positive, the jump will occur from the cloud to the ground. that you call it as, if the jump occurs from cloud to the ground, that you call it as cloud to ground lightning. That you call it as cloud to ground lightning. So remember, students, okay, tell me this, everyone tell me this. How much of voltage is supplied to your house? What is the voltage that is supplied to your house? No, Razia, no. No, Muad. What is the voltage? No, one student correct. Aina correct. Aina correct. Alif is closer. Then one more student got correct. I missed her name. Humaina correct. Well done. Wait a minute. Zikra Rizwan correct. Atika Rilwan correct. Very good. And then Aina. I told Aina's name. Humaina correct. Very good. So 230 volts, students. Right? So Muad, yes, correct. So there are 230 volts. Very good, students who tried to answer. Well done. So Vidurshan, correct. The students who are sending to Satya College, don't send the message to Satya College because I'm not seeing the phone, dear. So if I'm not reading your name, that means I'm not seeing the phone. So please send the messages to Zainab Ali, which is the co-host, not the host, right? So if you send the messages to Zainab Ali, only I will see. If not, I am not seeing the messages which is coming in the other phone. Because the phone is up, right? So I can't stand up and see your messages. I'm sitting on a chair so that I can see in my laptop. So don't send the messages to Satya College. Okay. 230 volts. The voltage that is supplied to your house is 230 volts. Okay, now I have another question. Okay, I'll tell you. The volts that is supplied, the voltage that is supplied during the cloud to ground lightning is 10 million volts. So imagine how big it is. 10 million volts. For your house, only 230 volts of voltage is supplied. But the voltage that is there in the clouds, where the lightning occurs from cloud to ground, there is 10 million volts. So 10 million volts is a huge amount, right? So if it strikes you, you are dead on the spot. Right? You are dead on the spot. Or it may cause you serious injury, or it may cause you to go to coma, right? So make sure that you stay inside your house when it is lightning it's a very worst condition. When it is lightning very badly, so make sure that you are inside your house. Because the voltage that is supplied to your house is only 230 volts. But the voltage that is there in the cloud to ground lightning is going to be 10 million volts, right? It is going to be 10 million volts. So a student is telling, yeah, it is enough for the whole city, I guess. Yeah, it is enough for the whole city to supply electricity, right? So 10 million volts, right? And about the current is going to be 25,000 ampere. The current that is supplied when there is a lightning, when there is a cloud to ground lightning, the current that is supplied is going to be 25,000 ampere. There will be a flow of 25,000 ampere current and 10 million volts when there is a lightning. So tell me, anyone who knows, in your house, you have LED bulbs, right? How much of ampere current is there in that LED bulb? How much of ampere current? No. Yeah. Ashrifa, correct. Very good. Atika Rilwan, correct. Hiba, it's not less than, it's just that number. Safia, Sabit, Amra, yes, correct. So normally in an LED bulb, it is like 0.1 amperes. So only, see, listen, if LED has only for a LED, if you need only 0.1 ampere current to make it glow, right? So just imagine how big it is, 25,000 amperes. How big 25,000 amperes is, right? So it's a very huge amount, right? So when it strikes you directly, if it strikes you directly, you will be dead on the spot because it supplies 10 million volts and 25,000 amperes. So from this, you will understand how high the voltage and current of the lightning is. Okay, now we'll move on to the next part, right? So, so I am, what we are studying now? Tell me, what is the topic we are studying now? Let's see if you all are concentrating. What are we studying now? I know it is lightning. Under lightning, what are we studying? Okay, most of you all replied lightning. Yes, it's lightning. Under lightning, we are studying cloud to ground lightning, right? We are studying about cloud to ground lightning. So listen, students, what I'm going to teach again. So listen carefully. So what is happening here is, in cloud to ground lightning, I'll take you all through it once more. So you have the cloud, and on top of the cloud, the positive charges are accumulated, and on the bottom of the cloud, the negative charges are accumulated, right? So when the number of the charges increases, when the number of charges increases in these clouds, there will be a jump of current. There will be a jump of charges from the cloud to the ground, because in the ground, there is the positive charges are induced in the ground. So what happens here is, when the number of charges, when it start to increase in the clouds, at the same time, the number of charges in the grounds also will start to increase. So when the number of charges in the clouds and number of charges in the ground increases, right? When it increases, a large current of air, the large current will flow through the air in a very short time period. They say that it is going to be only 10 milliseconds. So you don't have even a 1 minute to move from that place. If you are there, I saw a video recently. It was a very old video. So there is a tree, right? Under the tree, I think you all also have seen this. Under the tree, there was 3 men standing like this. So the lightning struck this tree, and suddenly all 3 fell down. They died on the spot. Did you all see this video? I saw it came in the WhatsApp. So I think you all might have also seen it, some of you. So don't think that lightning is a very small thing, right? It can cause death. Lightning can cause death. Don't think small. So it only takes 10 milliseconds for the current to flow from the cloud to the ground. It only takes 10 milliseconds. Milliseconds, not just seconds. Milliseconds, right? Milli means less than seconds. It's 10 to the power minus 3 than seconds. So it takes 10 milliseconds for the current to come from the cloud to the ground. So large current will flow in a very, very, very short time period, which will be 10 milliseconds. So the most dangerous type of lightning is going to be cloud to ground lightning. Cloud to ground lightning is going to be the most dangerous type of lightning. So what happens? Now tell me what happened. At first, there is cloud. In the cloud, the positive charges are accumulated on top, negative charges are accumulated on bottom. So this will induce the positive charges on the ground. The number of charges in the cloud and the number of charges in the ground will start to increase. So when the number of charges start to increase, there will be a large current flow through the air from the cloud to the ground in a very short time period, which will be 10 milliseconds, right? So what will happen is, this air around here, it will get heated. When this cloud to ground lightning occurs, the air, it gets heated and it becomes 30,000 degrees Celsius. The air near that place get heats and it becomes 30,000 degrees Celsius. 30,000 degrees Celsius means it is 5 times more than the hotness of the sun. So just imagine how hot it is. 30,000 degrees Celsius. The air gets heated until 30,000 degrees Celsius, which is 5 times more than the temperature of the sun. Okay, it's 5 times more than the temperature of the sun. So when this happens, the current will start to expand, and the things that is closer to by also can get damaged. It's similar to the cracker. You may have seen the cracker. When you on the cracker, it will crack and will start to expand, right? It will. Have you seen a cracker how it's bursting? Have you seen a cracker? Mostly you have seen a cracker, right? When you on it and when you keep it, it will expand. It won't burst in the same place. It will expand like this. Similarly, cloud to ground, when cloud to ground lightning occurs also, the lightning, it occurs and the air gets heated until 30,000 degrees Celsius. So when the air gets heated until 30,000 degrees Celsius, it will expand. The current will expand instantaneously. The current is going to expand. So when the current gets expanded, the people who are near those area will get affected. Okay. So I hope it's clear until, is it clear until cloud to ground lightning? Is it clear? Okay. So now take your tune and do the question soon. Write 3 types of lightning from question number 9. Question number 9 to 14. No, 13. Do from question number 9 to 13. The students who didn't get the tune can message me and get it, okay, after the class. Yeah, sure. 9th question. So the students who didn't get the tune, because I'm using my phone as the camera here. So the students who didn't get the tune can message me. I gave you all the number. So I'll put it again in the chat. 076-993-4070. You can message me and get the tune. So if Risham already has finished, others soon do. Aisha is asking that whether we have a break today. No, we don't have a break today. We'll just finish the class at 9, okay? Mifla Mian finished. Good. Akif finished. Aisha, Altaf, Amana finished. Good. Ahmad Amhar finished. Well done. Ayman, Fazna, Safia, Raslan finished. Good. Rahma finished. Okay. Anyone who is still writing, can you all let me know that if you are still writing? I think the students who didn't get the tune, they are still writing. Okay, Naz, Yunus finished, Zainab finished, good. Hiba finished. Okay, so soon write. So, write from question number 9 to question number 13. 9 to 13. I think a student is asking whether we can finish the chapter today. I think we won't be able to finish it. I think we can do until only half of the chapter. I'm repeating again. The students who are repeating that they didn't get the tute can get it from me. Okay. So I send the message. I gave you all the number. Put a message to my number. I'll give you all the tute. Will it be posted, uploaded in the YouTube? Yes, it will be uploaded in the YouTube. Okay. Okay, now enough time, I guess. So I'm not going to explain you all each question because we already explained it all this time we were talking about it. So the 3 types of lightning. So let's see who can answer that. What are the 3 types of lightning? Can you raise your hand so that upon Rizlan? Rizlan, tell me what are the 3 types of lightning?
Cloud to cloud lightning, cloud to air lightning, cloud to ground lightning.
Very good, Rizlan. Right? Those are the 3 types of lightning. Then the next one, I need the answer from Ashfa. Ashfa, tell me what is cloud to cloud lightning?
Yes, Miss. So cloud to cloud lightning is a jump of charges between 2 regions of a charged cloud, or between 2 clouds contains different charges is known as cloud lightning. Mostly it occurs between a cloud to cloud.
Yes, very good, Ashfa. And then Ifra Isham, what is cloud to air lightning? Ifra?
Discharge of electric current gathered in a cloud to the surrounding atmosphere, or spreading of lightning in the sky.
Yeah, okay, that is correct. So you can say that a discharge of charges accumulated in a cloud occurs in the surrounding air, that you call it as cloud to air lightning. Very good, Ifra. Then the next one, I need the answer from, let's say, okay, Ahmad answered once, right? So is there anyone who didn't answer? Fatima. Muha Munas. Muha Munas, explain cloud to ground lightning.
When a charged cloud positions itself above certain point on Earth, positive charges are included on ground due to the influence of negative charge accumulated in the lower part of cloud. When the amount of charge in the cloud and on Earth increase, at a certain moment, negative charge from the cloud jump to the Earth. This is called a cloud to ground lightning.
Very good, Muha. I hope everyone understood it. Well done. Okay, so now we have completed the 3 types of lightning. This is the question is wrong, students. Change the question. I have there's a small typing mistake, so it should be explain the 3 types of lightning, not clouding. Right? Cut it and write lightning there. So next one. What is the most dangerous type of lightning out of these 3 types? Safia? Asma Rizvi.
Cloud to ground lightning.
Very good. Cloud to ground lightning. The next question, answer I need from Zikra Rizwan. Okay, I can't find her. Fazna. How does ground lightning occur? So I think the question is repeated again. So this is the what who answered. That was a Muha, right? Muha Munas answered this question. So it is repeated again. So you can write it again if you all want, or you can leave that question, because as a third one we wrote the same thing, right? So we can leave that question. So what is the voltage and current generated when ground lightning occurs? Ahmad Amhar.
Okay, teacher. 10 million volts and 25,000 amperes.
Very good. Is it 10 million volts? Yes, it's 10 million volts and 2,500 amperes. Very good. Now we'll move on to the next part of the chapter, right? The next part is, we studied this in grade 7 under the sound chapter. Under sound, I guess, in grade 7. Yeah. So the next part, they are teaching you why do we hear when there is a lightning, why can we see the lightning? Why can we see the light coming first? And okay, I'm sorry. So what are we going to study now is during a lightning, we can see the light coming first, and after sometimes only we can hear the thunder, right? We can see the lightning first, then the thunder follows back. Have you all noticed that? Do you all know about it? Yes, very good, Rahma. That is because the speed of the light is going to be what? Do you all know what is the speed of the light? So what is the speed of the light, students? 3 into 10 to the power 8 ms meter per second. The speed of the light is going to be 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. The speed of the sound is going to be 330 meter per second. So tell me, which is faster? Is light faster or is sound faster? What do you all think? Which is faster? The speed of the light faster or the speed of the sound faster? Yes, very good, students. The speed of the light is going to be faster because it travels 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Right? In 1 second. What does this mean? In 1 second, it travels 3 into 10 to the power 8 meters. So the light is traveling very fast than the sound because the speed of the light is greater than the speed of the sound. The speed of the light is greater than the speed of the sound. That's why the light travels faster than the sound. Yes, that's why we see light and get so a student is telling that's why we see light and get ready to cover our ears when it thunders. That's correct. So when you see the lightning, then we get ready ourselves and we close our ears. Some people are scared for the thunder, right? So yeah, so they will close their ears, right? So what happens is when there is a lightning, you will see the lightning first and the thunder will come later. So we can measure, we can calculate the distance between the place where lightning occurred and the ground. We can calculate this distance. So do you know how can we calculate this distance? Anyone has any idea how can we calculate the distance? Milliseconds. Millisecond means it's 1,000 less than seconds. A second divided by 1,000. That's millisecond. Razi is telling time divided by distance. By dividing them, Ifra is telling. Anyone has any idea? Anyone? Okay, let me tell you. Now, let's say that the lightning occurred in this region. Let's say here the lightning occurred. So, you know that the light will travel first. Then later only you will hear the sound. Right? The light will travel first. Later only you will hear the sound. So what you can do is, you can measure the time from the moment you observe the light to the moment that the sound is heard. So when the light comes, switch on the stopwatch. Like on the stopwatch. Start counting the time. Then once you hear the sound, stop it. So now see how many seconds. So let's say if it is 12 seconds, now let's say it's 12 seconds. Now when there is a lightning, when the lightning occurs, the light will come first, no? Then only later the sound will come. So once the light comes, you just on your stopwatch. Then as soon as you hear the thunder, then stop the stopwatch. Then you can measure the time. You can measure the time between the sound and the light. You can measure the time between the sound heard and the light. Right? So you know that the sound, You know that 300 meter per second, right? So the sound travels 330 meters in 1 second. In 1 second, the sound travels 330 meters. So suppose you measure 12 seconds. So for the 12 second, you should measure how many meters? So you can cross multiply. You can say 330 meters into 12 seconds is going to be x. So x is going to be 3,960 meters. Wait. Yeah. And then you divide it by second, right? Wait. When you cross multiply, what are you going to do? You are going to x into 1 second. X into 1 second is equals to 330 meters into 12 seconds. So second cancel. So meter will be remaining. So x will be equals to 330 into 12, which will be equal to 3,960 meters. So approximately we can say 4 kilometers, right? Approximately we can say 4 kilometers. Okay, so this is how you measure the distance between the lightning and the ground. So if a lightning, when you are inside your house, you see a lightning come. So what should you do? You should switch on your stopwatch. Then once you hear the thunder, stop it, right? Then you have measured the time between the light and the sound. So once you do that, you know that the sound is traveling 330 meters in 1 second. So we should find how many meters it travels in 12 seconds. So we can cross multiply. X into 1 second is equals to 12 seconds into 330 meters. So we can find that X is 3,960 meters, which is approximately 4 kilometers, right? So it is 3.9 kilometers. We can say it is going to be 4 kilometers. So this is not there in your book. It's there as extra knowledge. This part is there in your book as extra knowledge. If you want, you can learn about it. Okay, it's just there as extra knowledge in your book. Okay. Okay, sorry for that. Now we can move on to the next part. Okay, let's move on to the next part. Shall we do one more question before moving on to the next part? I want you all to do the question number 14. Only one question is there. Soon do. When lightning occurs, both light and sound are produced at the same time. But when lightning occurs, we see the flash of lightning first and the sound of thunder is heard a little later. Explain this. Soon explain. You should say that the speed of the light is 3 into 10 to the power 8 ms minus 1. And the speed of the sound is going to be 330 ms minus 1. So the speed of the light is greater than the speed of the sound. That's why we can hear the speed of, we can see the light first, then only we can hear the thunder. So you can explain it like that. Hasna. Okay, I'll ask Hasna. Hasna, can you explain? Hasna? I'm just appointing one student, okay? I'm just asking. Okay, Ifra? Ifra, you can answer, dear. 14th one.
Because the speed of light is very high compared to the speed of sound.
Yeah. So, what is the speed of light? Can you tell me what is the speed of light? 3 into 10 to the power 8, right?
10 to the power 8.
Yeah. Speed of sound?
330 meters.
Yes, 330 meters. So there are some students who are willing to answer. What about others? Don't you all like to answer? So there are like 90 students here, right? So others, don't you all like to answer? Yes, Ahmad. Ahmad Amhar.
Teacher, the thunder occurs because late after occurring light because light is speeder more than thunder. The light is 3 into 10 over 8 ms minus 1 and the thunder is 330 ms minus 1. Because of that, lightning is so faster than thunder. So lightning occurs first?
Yeah, you should understand this, students. Now, don't think that they both are born simultaneously. Simultaneous means at the same time. The thunder and the lightning, they are born at the same time. They are occurring at the same time, but they travel with different speeds. That's why we can see the lightning first and we can see the thunder the next, thunder the later, right? Then the next part, we are going to move on. So we will study about how the lightning gets earthed, right? How the lightning gets earthed. So I won't be able to finish everything. There are four different ways how lightning gets earthed. So I'll just teach you about only about direct strikes, right? I'll teach about direct strikes. Okay, I'll teach about direct strikes. Then we will end it there, right? So when we consider the lightning, they can be earthed in 4 ways. Earth means, now when you study ground to cloud lightning, the lightning is coming and stuck in the ground, right? So that you call as earth. The light and the electricity is coming and earth into the ground. So there are 4 ways how lightning get earth, and it can harm humans, it can harm animals, it can damage buildings. So we are going to study 4 ways. So the first way how lightning get earth, you call it as direct strikes. You call it as direct strikes. The second way you call it as side flashes. Slight flashes. The third way you call it as contact voltages. Contact voltages. The fourth way you call it as earth. Earth means, now when from the cloud the lightning will come and be struck on the ground. It will be earth. It will go in, right? It is going to be earth, that you call it as earth. So there are 4 ways how lightning can be earth. When you study these 4 ways, you will understand the meaning of earth. So direct strikes, side flashes, contact voltages, and the last one is going to be step potential. The last one is step potential. So these are the 4 ways how lightning gets earth, right? These are the 4 ways how the lightning gets earth. So we will study one by one. We are going to study about direct strikes. So once we finish direct strikes, we can end the class there, right? So direct strikes means, let's say there is a flat land. There is a land which is flat. So in this flat land, it can be a human, it can be a tree, or it can be a building. Okay, it can be a tree or it can be a building. I know all these 3 are the same size, which is untrue. Okay, I'm just drawing. So it can be a human, it can be a tree, or it can be a building. So when the lightning strikes, a human, a tree, or a building who is standing on a flat of land, that you call it as direct strikes. So what are direct strikes? Direct strikes means the strike of lightning on a man, a tree, or a building that is standing on a flat of land. Though this man is standing on a flat of land, this tree is on a flat of land, this building is on a flat of land, this you call it as direct strikes. This you call it as direct strikes. So just imagine if a human is struck by this direct lightning, will he survive? Will the person survive if he is struck by a direct lightning? No. So what happens here is, now he will be stuck like this, and this lightning will travel inside his body like this, and then it will get earth. That you call it as earth. So if it is stuck on the tree, the lightning will travel inside the tree like this, and it will get earth. Earth means it's going inside the earth, right? Inside the land. When it strikes a building, it will go inside the building and it will get earth. So just imagine How many current? How many ampere current? How many ampere current? Very good. 25,000 ampere current. And how many voltage? How many volts? 10 million volts. Just imagine 25,000 amperes and 10 million volts going inside a human being. Will he survive? Will he survive that? Right? He won't survive it because it is going to, like, he will be fully internally damaged, right? So this lightning is going to start and this lightning is going to travel inside his body and it is going to get earth. That is known as direct strikes. That you call it as direct strikes. Okay, we'll move to side flashes. So after side flashes, we'll stop the class. Okay, so this you call it as direct strikes. So what is direct strike? A strike of lightning on a man, tree, or a building standing on a flat of land. That you call it as direct strikes. If direct strikes occur, it will travel inside the man and it will get earth. Right? You should understand that. The next one we are going to study about side flashes. Side flashes means there is a building or a tree. There is a building or a tree. Okay? On a land. There is a building or a tree on a land and a man is nearby. A man or let's say a dog. Dog. Okay. This is a dog. Huh? Okay. Let's say a dog or a man is nearby these buildings or this tree. So if the lightning strikes the building, what will happen is it will travel inside the building, and if a living organism is there, then it will direct inside that living organism and then only it will get earth. So the same thing. If the lightning is struck inside the tree, for a tree, the lightning will travel like this. It won't go straightly like this. It will go inside the human being and then only it will get earth. So a bolt of lightning hitting a tall building or a tree and it passes into the earth through the human, right? It passes through the human, the body of the human, and it gets earth. This you call it as side flashes. So you should ask me, why isn't it going straight like this? Don't you all have that doubt? Don't you all have that doubt? Yeah, you have it, right? Why can't it go directly like this? Why it is going like this and going like this? Why the lightning is going? Why it can't go directly and get earth? Why it is going inside this human body and getting earth? You should have that doubt. The reason is the flow of lightning current through a human body is easy than through a tree or a building. What is the reason? The reason is the flow of the lightning current. The lightning current can move inside the human body easily than the tree or a building. That's why the lightning goes like this and then side. The word side is there. Side flashes. It slide. The person who is standing by the side will get the lightning current and it goes inside his body and get earth. So that you call it as slide flashes. Anyone who can answer me what are direct strikes and what is side flashes? Can you all raise your hands? Yes, Ifra. Okay, let's ask Amra Nisar. Rayyan. There is a new person. Rayyan. Let's ask Rayyan because Rayyan didn't answer. Rayyan, tell me what is direct strike? Rayyan? Are you there? Yeah.
The flow of the lightning current through a human body is easier than through a building or a tree.
No, dear, I'm asking not side flashes. I'm asking about direct strike. The previous one we studied. Okay, let's ask Muad. Muad, can you answer?
A strike of a lightning on a solitary man, tree, or a building standing in a flat land is known as direct strike.
Very good, Muad. Well done. Then Alif. Alif, tell me what is side flashes?
The side flash means that lightning is occur through the other building or trees.
Yeah, you can say like this, dear.
And also
You can say, yeah, continue.
non-living.
Yeah, very good. So Sara, Siraj correct, Rahma correct, and Khairia, Barakat correct. Very good, Khairia. Yeah, and Ifra correct. So listen, students, I'll explain this once more because some students want it once more. So side flashes means there is a thunder of lightning that is struck to building or a tree. It will be directly struck to building or a tree. But if there is a living organism, living body standing nearby it will be directed inside its body. It will pass inside the body of the living organism and it will pass through them and it will get earth. Right? So that you call it as side flashes. So why isn't it going directly inside like this? The reason is it's easier for the lightning current to travel inside the body than trees or buildings. It's easier to travel inside. For the lightning current, it's easier to travel inside the living body than trees or buildings. That's why it goes like this and goes inside the human body and then gets earth. Okay. So I think that's it for today. And if you all want to continue, you can contact me and I provided you the number so I don't have to write it again. So if you want it now, you can ask me in the chat that you want the number again. If the lightning strikes the building, won't the people inside the building get affected inside flashes? There is a chance, Khairia. There is a chance inside the building also the people to get affected. But, you know, mostly the buildings, they have on top of the building, they insert something. I'll teach you later, okay? So it can get affected. The inside people can get affected, but mostly they don't get affected because it's totally covered. They say it's the safest space during the lightning is inside the vehicle, inside a car. So inside a car, it's safe. But if you are outside the car and touching the metal piece of the car, it's very dangerous. But if there is a lightning, it's better to stay inside the car, they say. Right? So inside the building, it will be safe. But outside, it's not safe. Is it clear, Hairia? Inside, it will be safe. Am I clear? Khairia, if you are clear, can you say yes? Okay, dear. Okay. So, Miss, can you please say the definition for side flashes? So, side flashes, you can say a bolt of lightning hitting the tall building or a tree and passes into the earth. Now, how it is going to pass into the earth? It is not going to pass directly into the earth. It is going to pass into the earth through the body of man standing nearby. Right? A bolt of lightning hitting the tall building or a tree. It is going to get earth through the body of the man standing nearby. That you call it as side flashes. Okay, I hope that it was clear today. I hope that you all enjoyed the session today. And that's it for today, students, right? So,